welcome to our Warhammer 40,000 battle report. It is Eldar against Imperial Guard, and playing on an interesting board. It's like a fresh planet, perhaps an old ruin around, but a lot of trees, a lot of hills, and it's where the Eldar are going to be taking on the Imperial Guard. Nice looking terrain, nice height, good cover. We'll see how the Eldar do against Imperial Guard in this game of Warhammer 40,000. Right, welcome to our game of Warhammer 40,000. 1850 points, Eldar against Imperial Guard, and they've decided to take a new experimental list of the Eldar. No aspect warriors. This is going to be what I've called the E.C.A, Eldar Citizen Army. And it's my colour scheme that I've chosen, nice turquoise colour. So this force is going to be led by the Eldar avatar. Giving the avatar a couple of upgrades. Fast shots, he'll be able to fire his melter weapon twice. And I've also given him crushing blows. That will up his strength to strength 7. So he's an angry avatar this time around, nicely upgraded. And then a lot of points to spare in this game, so a full squad of 6 jet bikes, and upgraded them, giving them 2 shuriken cannons, and they're being led by an Eldar autarch, and I've given him a laser lance, and he's riding the jet bike as well, so it's a handy squad, not bad. Coming across, it's Eldar Guardians, squad of 10, with a scatter laser, and they are in a wave serpent. And then another unit of Guardians with a Bright Lance this time, and they're in a Wave Serpent with Twin Link Bright Lance. And then the same again, another unit of Guardians with Bright Lance, and they are in a Wave Serpent with a Bright Lance as well. I like that idea of mobile Guardians, it's quite cool, they're well protected. So quite optimistic about this force. 2 more troops choices, 2 units of Rangers, 5 in each. And then 2 Wraith Lords with Bright Lance and Ghost Glaives and Flamers. And then finally, a Wraithknight with the Sun Cannon Scatter Shield, and also I've paid for a Scatter Laser with that as well. So no complaints about the force, it's radically different, but interesting, looking forward to playing with it as we take on the Imperial Guard. There's a lot of lance weapons in there, and infantry are vulnerable, but they might well be okay if they're protected in the transports. So looking forward to this game. It's going to be different terrain, different force organisation for the Eldar. So we'll now have a look and see what force James has for the Imperial Guard. Right, here's James's Imperial Guard. Now it's moving on from the list that was humbled by the Necrons. James has made a few changes, and he's going to go over what he's got in his force tonight.
Right, I have 2 HQ choices. My Warlord is Commissar Gaunt, which in the game counts as Lord Commissar. He's got a power sword. I have a company command, who I have a Vox caster, heavy flamer, and 2 melter guns, and a dedicated transport with a Chimera dozer blade and hull mounted heavy flamer. I have 2 platoons, which are 2 troops choices, similar to the last game, except I've dropped a grenade launcher to save 5 points, and exactly the same with this platoon as well. I have 2 Hellhounds with dozer blades and smoke launchers, which I paid the 5 points extra. And I've got an Aegis defence line, which is for the 50 points that I spent, which is my fortification choice. And I have 3 heavy supports. I have 2 Layman Russ Mark II demolishers with a demolisher cannon, and all equipped with heavy bolters. And I have Commander Pask, who's armed with Sponson multi-melters, hull-mounted las cannon, and the Exterminator auto cannon with the heavy 4 twin-linked autocannon.
It's armed to the teeth.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, designed to do some business.
Now, we saw him playing against Eldar before in the first battle report we did.
Yes.
Ultramarines. He did quite well.
I was very unfortunate.
So it's good to see him back. And you've got air support, finally. The Eldar don't have any, so it's going to be interesting.
So
The
Valkyrie,
yeah.
with las cannons, sponson heavy bolters, and I have a veteran squad, which I have my sergeants armed with a power fist, heavy flamer, 2 melters. So they're really trying to get objective reaches, really.
So that's James's force. Personally, I think Imperial Guard are one of the most difficult armies to master, so he's changed his list again, and he's looking forward to using it. I think it's a good list. He hasn't gone overkill on infantry. He's got good firepower, good heavy support, and some air power this time round. So we'll see how well he does in this game. He'll fight hard, but if he wins, it will be because he deserves it. Let's move on now to deployment for both these forces. Right, here's the scenario. It's Crusades. It's D3 plus 2 objectives. James has rolled a 5, so there's 5 objectives. He got 3 of them. So those have been placed around the table. You can see the dice markings here. Eldar are at this end, setting 12 inches in. It's Dawn of War scenario. Classic battle, this one. And then you can see a grey line of dice running up. That's where the Imperial Guard will be. Setting up from behind here. There's a lot of cover. A lot of places with quite a good line of sight. As for objectives, James has placed one here, one right out in the open. It's going to be a challenge to take that one. Each of these objectives is worth 3 points, so they're of equal value. And the Eldar, we've put one here, and we've tucked one right in the corner as well. So that's the scenario. We're going to go on now and deploy the forces. Right, here's the deployment for the Eldar. Unit of Rangers just holding the objective there. They're keeping within 12 of the avatars hidden behind the bushes just there. And then a bit of tactica here. Wraithknight and Wraithlords are going to go straight for his objectives. That will keep him busy and present a threat to his objectives there. Then a double wave serpent with the bright lances. They're going to provide hopefully some covering fire. Then coming around, Imperial Guard, you'll see that he's got his Aegis defence line out in an impressive line. All the infantry piled up behind. Chimera support as well. One Demolisher just on the end here. Pask just sitting in the middle. Demolisher anchoring the other end. So that's a stronghold for the Imperial Guard there. It's typical again. It's the Eldar have tried to break them before. Let's see if we can pull it off again. And then in reserves for the Guard, he's got good tactical reserve. He's got the Flyer with the veteran squad. And he's put Commissar Gaunt with him. And then the 2 Hellhounds are in reserve as well. And then for the Eldar, the reserves are the jet bikes with the Autarch. 1 unit of Guardians in the Wave Serpent, the guys with the scatter laser. Might use those to actually assault his position, try and put a troop's choice on one of his objectives. And then 1 of the Ranger units as well. I'm not deploying them deep within enemy territory because I know he's got the Hellhounds. They'll just come on and flush them out. So we're going to try and keep them back, hold back with the Eldar on this one, with the weaker units, and throw forwards the tougher units into the assault. So we're going to move on now to the start of the game. Imperial Guard movement on turn 1. Demolisher's moved out just a little bit to the right. I think he reckons he's got a view through the woods towards the Wraith Lords and Wraithknight. It's a good strength 10 blast weapon, that one. Pass just turned a little bit. he's got a view to the wave sap. We've got no night fighting here, so there could be trouble for the Eldar. And another cautious advance from this Demolisher looking to take on the Wraithknight as well. So just a small amount of adjustments from the Guard. So we're going to go into shooting for James now on Imperial Guard turn 1. Right, shooting for the Imperial Guard. Just firing through the gap here, didn't inflict any damage. Pask, the most impressive. That's strength 8 auto cannon and strength 10 with his las cannon because of his special upgrade. So he's firing through and has caused 2 hull points. Well, it was 2 penetrating hits, but I rolled on the Serpent Shield, so it's 2 hull points on the furthest wave Serpent. So we're not destroyed, but it's not good news, taking those 2 points of damage there. So not bad from the Imperial Guard, good start. We'll see what happens now as we move on to Eldar turn 1. Right, Eldar turn 1. So pushing ahead with this plan to push forwards with our 2 Wraith Lords and the Wraithknight. Now he's got the Sun Cannon, and not really much you can shoot at. You've got the Guard over there behind the Aegis defense line. He'll just take a 2+ save and fire at him. So, and that strength 6 not going to do too much damage. So we've gone for assault really with this one. And as he jumps up on top of the rocks there in support with 2 Wraith Lords, that's a problem for him to deal with. And then taking advantage of the Demolishers moving out of cover, the Eldar Citizens have disembarked from their Wave Serpents, and look at this firepower facing off against that Demolisher in the open. 2 Twin-Link Bright Lancers and the Bright Lance squad have got out. They're going to hit him. Will he survive? The other one's got out here and is looking just down through the gap and is in range and a clear view to command a pass. And you can see the Avatar just sitting there. He's granting Fearless to these guys and Fearless to all of these. So I'm liking this list at the moment, but we'll see how we go. It's only turn 1. Move on now to Eldar shooting on turn 1. So we'll do this now. We'll fire the Bright Lance from this Wave Serpent, and he's going to fire up over at the Demolisher. So 3 up we need. No, twin-linked. A 2. Oh no. Let's try this second guy firing through. And it's a clear line of sight. Yes, good view. So on a 4, 4's a hit. So it's a lance. It knocks his armor down to 12, and then strength 8, 3, not good enough, 11. So I was hoping they'd do well, but that's a shame. And snap 5 with the platform that's got out and got a 4, so we've missed. This one coming out, snap fire. To fire up a pass, need a nice good old 6, and we failed. Right, Eldar shooting on turn 1. We almost took out the Demolisher there, but he got away with it. So that's the Demolisher done there. And then these guys fired through and they failed to do any damage on him. Scouts are just stuck where they are. One rifle stayed where he was, fired it past, hit, but didn't fail to penetrate. This one's moved 2 inches through to the left, and the Wraithknight's moved up another 3 inches, so he's almost ready to assault already. So the Guard have got a lot of targets to deal with already. It's going to get interesting now as we go into Imperial Guard turn 2 as the reserves start to arrive. Alright, James is moving with the Demolisher surviving and some reserves turning up. He's got a new sense of victory, perhaps. So he comes in, Flyers turning up. Just a cautious advance from the Guard, still being aggressive. Flyers come on here, looking dangerous. Love the Valkyrie Flyer. I mean, Guard, it's a tired army, it's an old campaign army, old codex against the fresh Eldar, so it is a tough task for Imperial Guard. They're a difficult army to get right. Often the victims when it comes to games. And look what's bursting through the woods just ahead. Huge Wraithknight. How is he going to deal with that monster? We shall see. So his movement's finished. He's just tucked in here with the Demolisher. Pask's just pivoted. And it looks like Pask is going to take on the Wraithknight. Guard line holds, and the Hellhound's turned up. It's just being shielded, gaining that cover save. That's clever stuff behind the Demolisher there. And then now air support has arrived as well, clipping across the top of the trees. Up and over is the flying Valkyrie with the veteran squad inside. So we'll see how well the Imperial Guard can do on turn 2 of their shooting. Let's move on and see how well he does. James' shooting, he's been issuing bring it down rules to try and put wounds on the Wraithknight. This Chimera has failed. This Chimera has failed. And now it's the chance, or the turn of Commander Pask. He's pivoted on the spot. He's got the weapons to do the job. So here we go. Here he comes. Pask's going to fire with his souped-up autocannon.
Exterminator autocannon.
All hit. It's a good start. Oh, special rule for Pask. He's going to re-roll wounds against monstrous creatures. 4s he needs. 5s?
No,
strength.
7. I don't re-roll wounds.
Oh, right, okay, yes. It's only strength 8 against vehicles. So he wants 5s for the re-rolls. No. And your AP? AP 4, so free up save. Here we go. Yes, saved. The panic sets in. He's got a las cannon to fire. Here comes a las cannon. A 2. No. And the 2 melters. He's got 1 hit.
Forced to wound, re-roll.
Forced to wound, re-roll. Oh no. Gets it. I get a 5-up scatter shield save. And he passes. Oh no. He tries. Right, Imperial Guard shooting on turn 2. There's a whole load of fire came in, but no damage on the Wraithknight. Made a couple of wounds that did come in. He made scatter shield saves, so that Wraithknight is untouched. Bad news for the Guard as it looms over the battlefield. The monster hasn't been touched, but Demolisher tank is fired through and caused a mess amongst the Guardians. So Serpent Shield didn't stop the shot there. He blew it up, rolled a 6, and then rolled a 6 again for the explosion. Killed 3 Guardians from this squad and a Guardian from the rear squad as well. So that's a blow to the Eldar. James gets first blood for that, which is handy enough. And remember, he's got the weight of the objectives as well. So Eldar doing well, but under a little bit of pressure. James still holds the objectives, so that assault better work, otherwise James will win the game. So hard to call at this point. A roll up now for reserves for Eldar. There's no assaults for the Guard. So we're going to move on now to Eldar turn 2. Eldar moving on turn 2. The scouts just sitting where they are really in this game. Not much to snipe at, no monstrous creatures and so on. So they're just holding back out of trouble and just holding objectives. So they're doing a good job. Wave Serpent's turned up. This is the one with the squad with the Guardians with the scatter laser. So that's just moved up 12. And then the Avatar's just holding his ground, just looking after the Guardians here. Another unit of scouts has turned up here, just to add another troop's choice to chase after that 3-point objective just in the woods there. We've swung the Wave Serpent around with a clear view at the Demolisher again, plus this squad will be able to fire at its normal ballistic skill. This squad could sit here, fire through at Pask on the hillside, and then over here it is a sprinting Wraithknight. Has jumped up and over the trees, landed, and is about to run straight into that Demolisher tank. So he's in trouble as the Wraithknight closes in. And if you're Imperial Guard, you'd be intimidated by that as it comes in towards you. So he's got to deal with that. It's going to take something out this turn, or should do, and then how James reacts to that on his turn 3 may well determine the game. If he brings it down, then he can fight the rest. Now the Wraith Lords, they're just moving through the woods, just using their firepower. They've got a good view to pass, so they may as well use it as they close up behind the Wraithknight. So we're going to go on now to shooting for the Eldar. There's quite a lot to do on turn 2. So Eldar Bright Lance Fire, we're going to do it on the shooting phase here. And we'll start with this one, firing at the Demolisher. It's got no line of sight. James wants to survive, so it's twin linked. 2's a miss and a 1's a miss. Again, useless firepower from the Wave Serpent. So we're going to fire dead ahead with this squad here. 1 a 3+, 4's a hit, and a 1. Not good. So useless with the Guardians again. Why did I take a Guardian? Eldar Citizen Army, we'll see. This one's going to fire dead ahead up at Pask. 3+. Got the hit and failed to penetrate. Just in range, James has checked that. So no effect from here, from the Eldar Citizen Army. Pask has got to go. So what we've decided to do, just because of obscurity of the trees a little bit, James is going to get a cover save from one of these two. We'll fire this one first. There's no cover save from that one. We've agreed. So you want a 3+, got a 6. You want a 4 or more. Good old Wraith Lords. No, a 3. Failed. Last one. 3+. 2's a miss. So the Eldar line's fired and done absolutely no damage to the Imperial Guard. Skeptical now about the E.C.A, but we'll see. I'll move on to assaults now, and we're just going to move this Wave Serpent up as well and run these. Right, just some Eldar moving up there. The Wave Serpent's moved, have gone up and over, just hiding behind here. And then the unit of scouts has just moved up behind the what's left of the Wave Serpent. And then just coming around the other side, you'll see that we rolled a 6 for our charge. So the Wraithknight is in to the Eldar compound. Well, at least he's knocking on the door at the moment. We'll go on to Eldar assaults now. So the Wraithknight gets 4 attacks, 1 for charging, 3's to hit because James moved. Oh dear. I think James has just gone off to tell everybody the result that I've got there. 2 2s and 3 1s. Right, so that marks the end of the Eldar assault phase on turn 2. James has got to take advantage of this situation. The tank is untouched. So we're going to move on now to Imperial Guard turn 3 coming up. The whole army reacting to the Wraithknight failed to break through, so the Demolisher's backed off. 6 inches. Chimera's swung around. Pask swung around. The other Chimera's swung around. Now there are melters, a couple of melters in the back of that Chimera. That might be able to supply some help. So that's the priority. And Guard Army is really all about target priority. Pick the most dangerous target, fire everything at it until it's killed. That's the Guard philosophy. Let's see if James can pull it off here. There's 6 wounds to get through. The Guard line is holding its position. They're doing their job, holding the objectives. This Chimera swung around as well. The Valkyrie's flown up round and is in a position to support fire against the Wraithknight as well. And then on the left flank, the Guard are assaulting. They're going to push on towards the Eldar Guardians in the woods over there. So got the vehicles to do it. Second Hellhound's come on and has just popped smoke there to gain some cover. The first Hellhound that was on is now in a position to flush out those Guardians there and supporting fire from the Demolisher tank as well. So Guard sensing that perhaps they could pull this one out because it hasn't gone exactly right for the Eldar so far. So game hard to call at the moment. We'll see what happens in this critical shooting phase for the Imperial Guard on turn 3. shooting on turn 3. The whole line's erupted, swung around to the right and fired at the Wraithknight, but you can see he's still there, alive. A lot of saves made from the Wraithknight, a couple of invuns and quite a few regular armor saves of 3+. Failed a couple of those. He's caused 2 wounds. It's nowhere near enough what he was looking for, but it's a start. Thing is the Wraithknight can only kill 1 thing a turn. There's about 8 things to deal with there. So he's going to run out of turns in the game. So there's only a limited amount of damage he can do. But it's unnerving the Imperial Guard force, that's for sure, to have such a large monstrous creature smashing through their line. So James has got to deal with that. And the 2 Wraithknights following up from behind as well. Supporting fire came in as well from the Valkyrie and from this Chimera as well. Now, good move from the Guard. That's a proper Guard assault now. So this Hellhound's moved up and then these 2 fired through. And it was effective shooting. The Demolisher penetrated the Wave Serpent. We downgraded that hit to a glancing hit with a Serpent Shield. And then the Hellhound has flushed out that first Guardian squad, wiping them out entirely. So good shooting. That assault is a threat to the Eldar objective and has actually moved them off. So it's a game that's swinging around in a circle. You've got the Eldar assault coming in on this right-hand flank, and then the Guards pushing up on the left. So interesting. This game, again, hard to call. Which assault will be the most effective? The Eldar or the Guard? Remember, the weight of objectives is with James. He's holding 2 here. So the Eldar are under pressure to contest his objectives and hold their own. So going to move on now to Eldar turn 3. Right, Eldar movement on turn 3 here. The scouts or the rangers have just moved over into the woods, trying to get away from that moving threat over there. Then coming down, the avatars decided to take the fight to the enemy, so he swung around behind the Wave Serpent. This squad's embarked on the Wave Serpent, there's no point in getting cooked, and then just moved the rangers up here. Just the thought that if you can't see them, you're not allowed to shoot at them. So they're just going to hide there. Reserves have arrived. The Ultag with the jet bikes has turned up, gone on 12 inches. Handy squad to have. They might be able to influence the game. Come around the other side, the 2 Wraith Lords have burst out of the woods, moving across, and then the Wraithknights just swung around, just going to carry on his assault, see if he does better this time. And just in the woods there, the Wave Serpent's got an angle across to that right hand Hellhound. Might deactivate the shield and see how well we do. So that's the movement for the Eldar. Going to go on to shooting phase now for the Eldar on turn 3. Right, Eldar shooting on turn 3. The Wave Serpent's fired through and has blown up the Hellhound. That was a good result. And over here, missed again with this Wave Serpent, so no damage on the Demolisher. It's bad. Coming round, the jet bikes moved up and have gone behind the ruin here, so they are now a threat on the Imperial Guard left-hand flank. And then coming across, 1 Wraith Lord fired and caused a penetrating hit and a result of a 3 on Pask, so it's snapshots only from him. That silenced the key unit for the Imperial Guard. And then the other Wraith Lord has advanced. He rolled a 6 for his run move, so 2 Wraith Lords now bearing down on the Imperial Guard line. And then the Sun Cannon was fired from the Wraithknight coming down, and with the scatter laser as well. In total, we've got 1 glancing hit on this Chimera. That's the one we're going after. And then it killed 3 of the guardsmen that were behind it as well. So that's the start as we break into the Imperial Guard line here. So we're going to go on to assaults now for the Eldar on turn 3. Right, the Wraithknights made it in. Let's see what result we get this time. Did the Chimera move? Didn't move. So we're on auto hits. So we don't have to roll.
10, you automatically penetrate.
Strength 10 as well, so auto penetration. So we're just going to roll straight up on the results.
Bang.
6, bang. So that was a straightforward result this time. So that's the end of the Chimera. And the squad's got lost 1 man, but the rest are okay. So there's the Imperial Guard objective just under the smouldering remains of that Chimera. So that's contested now. So as the game stands at the moment, Imperial Guard are holding 1. and they've got First Blood, so they're on 4 points. And the Eldar are holding 1, and Linebreaker, so we're at 4 points each. It's a draw at this stage. So another critical turn coming up. What will the Imperial Guard do on their turn 4? That shouldn't be there, by the way, that's gone. So, Imperial Guard, turn 4, coming up. Right, you're saying you can't kill anything. Yeah, the Wraithknight's an intimidating thing. It shouldn't even be on the table. It's borderline apocalypse. But anyway, Imperial movement. Then the Valkyries come across. It looks such a good model, hovering across the tops of these trees along here. It's bearing down on the Wave Serpent, looking to take out that transport there. And then he pushes ahead with the assault. Hellhound's scooted round. It's a fast vehicle, so he's gone 12, and he's got a view now down at my scouts, so he's got me. Demolisher is facing off against the jet bikes here, looking to cause some casualties. And then to support his attack, he still believes it can do some damage. He's sent out one of the chimeras up the table as well, popping smoke. Then down here, the guardsmen are funneling in, moving off towards the Wraithknight. Pask sitting there, and all the squads really are going to let off another volley of fire. But they are in trouble. The two Wraith Lords are bearing down on them, so it's desperate times on the Imperial Guard defensive line. So we're going to go on to shooting now for the Imperial Guard. What can they do on turn 4? Imperial Guard shooting on turn 4. The Valkyrie fired down and failed to do any damage to the Wave Serpent. Coming across, is a pretty good result from the Hellhound. Killed 4 out of 5 of the Rangers, but Fearless with the Avatar next to him. And then the Demolisher failed to do any damage to the jet bikes. And then coming around, it's just moved up a bit further with that Chimera. And then all weapons fired, but again, no damage on the Wraithknight. Absolutely domineering the game, this figure. So that's Imperial Guard shooting done. There's no assaults for the Imperial Guard. It looks like it's going in the favour of the Eldar now in quite a big way. So we're going to move on now to Eldar turn 4 coming up. Eldar movement on turn 4. Scouts are just shuffled on a little bit, just onto the objective there. It's all quiet really for them. Wave Servant's moved up and over onto the rocks. He's got a view through to the rear end of the Demolisher up the other end here. And then the Lone Ranger, the Lone Ranger is just hiding just behind the Wave Serpent here. Avatars come out. Just going to have a go at the Hellhound and also this Wave Serpent as well. And then the jet bikes have come out from behind the ruin and are making a move on that Chimera in the middle. So Eldar closing in on all directions now in speed. Wraith Lords are burst forwards, both moving 6 inches. There's going to be trouble here now. And then the Wraithknight's moved in and is looking to face up against the Demolisher tank here. So we're going to move on to shooting for the Eldar on turn 4. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we've witnessed, perhaps on this turn, the most horrendous round of shooting perhaps I've ever seen in a game of 40k. Just the Avatar fired 2 shots forwards, penetrated the Hellhound and destroyed it. The jet bikes fired through at the Chimera and they destroyed that and killed one of the crewmen inside. And then we deactivated the Serpent Shield here and fired at the rear end of the Demolisher and blew that up as well. That's a triple blow up in one turn. That's horrendous from the Eldar there. And then coming down across here, the Wraith Lord fired the Bright Lance and blew up this Chimera, killing a couple of the guys from inside. And then this Wraith Lord flamed through and killed the last of that squad. Deadly firepower from the Eldar on this turn. Really, we're coming to the conclusion that the Guard are just an army that is a real struggle.
Hurry up, Games Workshop, please.
James is crying out for the new codex. Difficult. The Guard are difficult to master. I used to play them quite a lot. I used to get beat a fair amount of the time. Guard are a difficult army to get a hold of, but they have been set upon by this Eldar Citizen Army here, and we've still got assaults to go. So we're going to go into the Eldar Assault phase. There's quite a few charges to be done as we move on to Eldar Assaults on turn 4. Eldar Assaults on turn 4. The jet bikes went in to flush out the last of the infantry that got out of the Chimera. You're allowed to do that now in 6th edition. We lost a jet bike as we went in, just going through the what's now difficult terrain. Wraith Lord rolled a 7, he's in. And the Wraithknight's in as well for the 3rd time against this Demolisher tank, so we'll roll up these results. Right, Eldar Assaults, the Eldar army is on the rampage, and they're coming across the table here. That squad's been wiped out and then consolidated 3 inches, heading off towards the Guardsmen in the compound here, and then the Wraith Lord finished off that squad and is now headed towards the Guardsmen as well. And then finally Revenge from the Wraithknight is destroyed that vehicle. So Imperial Guard, a devastating turn on turn 4. James wants to continue just for the sake of pride. He's going to roll on to Imperial Guard turn 5. Turn 5. There's no command structure left to the Guard army, so the squads here are just hanging around really. They're going to let off some volleys at the jet bikes as they close in. And he's pretty much ignoring the Wraith Lord. It's a sad day for the Imperium. And then the Wraithknight James has decided just to hold his ground and try and take it on, see what Pask can do. Desperate situation on turn 5 for the Imperial Guard, but we'll do the shooting now and see if James can take down the Wraithknight, restore a little bit of pride to his force. And just around the other side, he's moved the Valkyrie up, and he's got a view of the side sponson heavy machine gun to fire down and catch these scouts out of cover. So he's still fighting, but I think we know the conclusion of this game. But we'll see. We'll go on now to shooting for Imperial Guard on turn 5. So shooting for James on turn 5. Heavy bolter fire down and kill 1 Ranger there. And coming around, 49 shots in total from these guys. Fired ahead and killed 2 jet bikes. But the good news, Pask stood his ground, fired, and destroyed the Wraithknight. 4 wounds just from that 1 tank. Just shows the potential that vehicle has. But sadly, it's too little, too late. So Eldar turn 5 coming up. There's no assaults for James. We'll go straight into Eldar turn 5. Right, Eldar turn 5. The scouts are just shuffled up just to try and hold the objective. Coming round, the Wave Serpent's moved across, disembarked, looking to fire up at the Valkyrie from behind. And this one in a position to fire at the Valkyrie as well. And the squad have got out and just set up on the hill and going on to the objective with the Avatar in support and the Lone Ranger as well. So that objective's held. And with that fearless ability from the Avatar, that will help. And just over here, the jet bikes are moved in on the flank of the guard, just denying him his cover. Wraith Lord's quite happy where he is, just moved up an inch. And then this Avenging Wraith Lord's moving up to take on Pask. So a fair amount of movement from the Eldar. Just going to go on to shooting now on turn 5. Right, it's just a case of when you thought it couldn't get any worse. Firepower coming up from the Wave Serpent. And the squads has brought down the Flyer, multiple glancing hits and then a penetrating hit. It's crashed down. Gaunt survived with a handful of men, but that's the end of the Flyer. And then come around the other side, you think it can't get any worse than that. The jet bikes killed 6, and then the Wraith Lord with the 2 flamers killed 20. No damage from this Wraith Lord against the against Pask, but we still have assaults to go on this turn 5. So we're going to do that now for the Eldar assaults coming up. So the Wraith Lord is in. He's charged into combat. Made into combat there. We lost 1 jet bike from snapfire. So we'll resolve these 2 combats. It's looking kind of empty now.